Hey! Welcome to another fucking video! Here's a summary of what happened last time. Fuck! Shit! Fuck! Yeah, that about sums it up. But today is a new day, because we got through Durotar and now we're on to one of my favourite zones in the entire game. The Barrens.
You gotta admit, this is cool!
Only 2 of my other warriors made it through this zone alive, but that didn't stop me. I picked up my first Barrens quest, ready to take on anything it threw at me, only to be sent right back to Durotar, because I forgot to do my defensive stance quest. But now, it really was the start of my Barrens adventure, so join me, and my character,
尝试时期
as we make it through hardcore classic WoW. Fuck! The first thing I had to do was get a weapon upgrade, because this thing is a piece of shit. But lucky for us, we're able to head down the hill, grab some metal, have a run-in with the local authorities, and head back to get an upgrade. I headed into the crossroads, picked up all of the quests I needed, and found this troll having a bath?
Get your goddamn feet out of the bobbing apples!
But apples? I'd only been in the Barrens for a few minutes, and already, things were getting silly. One of the first places I go when I'm questing in this zone is the Forgotten Pools, because there are great engaging quests, such as pick up mushrooms and swim into lake. While I was here, I also saw a Tauren get nearly decimated by a centaur, but fortunately I intervened and saved their life. And I did it on my own, without any assistance.
Fear not, your foes are vanquished!
Unfortunately, heroes like myself cannot be everywhere at once, because only seconds after I saved the Tauren, 2 level 60 rogues died in Zul'Gurub at the same time. Those Batriders were out for blood. I headed back to the crossroads and got some follow-up quests, including Apothecary Zama. This quest has you run all of the way from the crossroads to Thunderbluff within a 45-minute time limit, or you fail the quest. However, this quest is, well, it's kind of fucking boring, to be honest. You literally just walk from the crossroads to Camp Taraho and over to Thunderbluff. It's not that engaging as a quest. So I figured, since we're on this walk together, I would tell you guys some things. First of all, I'm sure many of you are wondering why I'm still wearing a shield. And that's because I'm leveling as a prot warrior.
Pardon me, I was absorbed in comp-
I chose this spec because I don't like leveling efficiently, and I also don't like having fun. Oh, and also, the highest level I've gotten to so far in hardcore is 34, and I did that as protection, and then I decided I'm leveling too slowly, so I switched to arms, and I leveled up my two-handed skill, and I started questing again, and I think I died like 5 mobs later, so fuck leveling as DPS, I'm just protection. Another thing I wanted to do was thank all of you for the success on the last video, and some of the comments you guys wrote were really great to see. However, I do have to talk about one particular comment that I got. Stop pretending you have a deeper voice than you have, man. It's so fucking cringe when people talk like this. And the reason I'm talking about this comment is because, well, it's true. Look, listen, I'm only just getting started with this series, so I think it's better if I just come clean about it now. I just wanted to have like a cool YouTuber voice like some of the big YouTubers like Markiplier or PewDiePie or Michael Buckley. But after reading this comment, I realised I should just be myself. I should. Even if I sound a bit different, even if I sound a bit weird, I should just use my natural voice for the videos. So from now on, no more voice changer, no more trying to act like I'm someone I'm not. I'm just going to be me, okay? So let's just move on.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the Deathlog add-on. Anytime that somebody with the add-on dies, it shows everyone else in this chat box so that everyone can laugh at your misfortune. It even shows you the thing that killed each person and what their last words were. As an example, this troll hunter... Fuck.
I'm sorry, I just can't keep going with that voice change a bit. As an example, this troll hunter died in Ragefire Chasm. To nothing. This means that he probably fell into the lava and cooked to death. That guild name really served him well. Anyway, to get back on track, I headed up to Thunderbluff and handed in the quest. The next thing I had to do was collect 4 Zephyr Hooves. This quest is regarded as one of the most tedious, low drop rate quests in the Barrens, but I personally don't think it's that bad. All you have to do is... there we go. Oh, and if you're wondering why my name looks like this, that's because I signed some guy's guild charter in Orgrimmar. I tried getting help finding Mankrik's wife from Barrens chat, only to be told
帐篷里躺着是那个吗
from Gone Freaks of all people. I started fucking around with the South Seas pirates, only to then see this message in the chat. Now this seemed like the place for me. A British hardcore guild, social with no expats. I immediately left my guild and demanded to be let in. I was finally where I belonged. One of the guildies asked me if this was my first hardcore character, to which I lied. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Now I could go on some tangents about how I hit level 15, or about the time that Kodobane gave me head, or about how I got my first pair of shoulders from killing harpies. But I'm going to skip all of those stories because, well, they're not very interesting. But also, it's because I want to talk about Ragefire Chasm. I went back to Thunderbluff to grab the dungeon quests and also to get some weapon skills, one-handed maces, and more importantly, guns. I also went over to Undercity, didn't die to the elevator, learnt how to use swords and picked up the dungeon quest there. Now all I had to do was make a group and go to the dungeon. The hunter, whose name I will not try to pronounce, wanted to do the hidden enemies quest chain before we went in. He wanted some help getting his insignia, but I decided not to go. And I'm glad I didn't go, because this bastard got his insignia on the first kill. I wonder what that feels like. The hunter got back and we headed inside the dungeon. And to tell you the truth, this run was pretty uneventful. However, this was when my fingers got a bit sticky. Let me explain my strategy. Make a warrior and decide to tank dungeons. Only ever make your dungeon groups yourself, don't join anyone else's. When you make your group, don't invite any other warriors into it. Why? Well, on Horde side, up until level 40, warriors are the only class that can wear mail armor. They also don't have a lot of competition for weapons like two-handed axes or swords. This means that you're probably going to be the only person in your group who can use these items. And maybe, just maybe, you take a whole bunch of items doing this. Blood Spatter Gloves of the Eagle? Don't mind if I do. Merc Sword of the Eagle? Well, I might as well have the set. But other than me being a thief, nothing really worth talking about happened in this dungeon. I took some more loot, and one boss at a time, we cleared out the entire place. This might seem like an underwhelming ending, but you've got to keep in mind that Ragefire Chasm is super easy. Anyway, I headed outside and started dusting all of the greens that I got. 17 pieces of loot dropped in the end, which means on average, each of us should have walked out of there with 3.4 bits of gear. But I walked out of there with 7. The results speak for themselves. I handed in the Ragefire quests at Orgrimmar, and while I was waiting for the blimp to Undercity, I thought I'd tell some jokes. Why didn't the skeleton go to the party? Actually, I'm gonna ask this guy instead. Why didn't the skeleton go to the party? Fuck these people. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time with this guy.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the party?
Oh my god, he wants to know.
Because he had no body to go with.
Eventually, I stopped fucking about and started questing at the Stagnant Oasis. I looted a mediocre chest,
Banana.
and then I found the rare Centaur Broke Spear. He put up a decent fight, but I'm not fucking about. Accidentally stumbled into the annual Voidwalker convention, and decided to team up with all of them to kill Varrock. One of them wasn't in range to get kill credit, so I got the shit beaten out of me until he showed up. I moved on and started questing in Stone Talon Mountains, and it was here that I learned that joining my guild might have been a mistake. Nevertheless, I pushed on and started doing the Kaya Escort quest. The 3 mobs that spawn at the end of this quest can be hard to solo, but fortunately, this glue is really fucking sticky, trivializing the entire encounter. Got a group together and killed Hezrel, stole a shield that was the same as my current one during the Samarflange questline, and started looking for the Cat's Eye Emerald. This is another one of the quests with an annoyingly low drop rate, but fortunately, we can just... You see, that didn't take long. Thankfully, the next quest I decided to do was a lot more interesting. I made my way to Northwatch Hold and began to hack, slash and shoot my way through it. Had a couple of risky moments, but I pushed on anyway. I made a group with the shaman and together we started clearing the place out. Fun fact about the top of this tower, if you angle your camera just right, this happens. Literally unplayable. After beating 2 of the towers, the shaman had to leave. I tried doing the last tower solo, but it was proving difficult. As I sat around wondering if I should just give up and go home, a hunter came up the hill and we completed the quest together. I even decided to stick around and help him complete the parts which I'd already done. Then I got a case of deja vu. Then I got a case of deja vu. Deja vu. Deja vu. Then I got a case of deja vu because I saw a Tauren running for their life on low health.
Retreat!
I judged him on the scales and decided that I had to go and rescue him. One mocking blow straight into a taunt meant that he wasn't going to perish today.
Sheesh! Holy shit!
I gave him some of my health potions and told him that I thought he could make it to 60. So if you're playing a Tauren on Hardcore Classic, just know that I will be there to save you. Anyway, moving on. I finished up a bunch of other quests that I had to do, and when this guy asked me how I got my name, I told him that I'm built different. Rock, paper, scissors. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Rock! I hate it here!
But you know what I don't hate? Hitting level 20. Dual wielding, cleave, last stand, retaliation, and I guess the next rank of rend, or whatever. I felt really good about getting to this level. I felt powerful. I felt like I could take on anything. Then I acted like a fucking idiot and bit off more than I could chew. Luckily though, someone came over and killed the mob after I tagged it. He didn't even want the loot. More for me, I guess. Now, despite having played this game for most of my life, let me tell you about something I learnt on this playthrough which I never knew. Did you know that making a campfire from cooking levels your cooking skill? I had no idea. The only memory I have of making campfires in this game is several expansions later in retail. I think it's really amazing that you can spend so many hours playing a game like this and still, after all of this time, you'll find things in it that you never knew existed. Now let's wrap this video up with Wailing Caverns. I formed my group in my usual fashion and met up with them outside the dungeon. We started clearing out the opening and I immediately got back on my bullshit. We grabbed the 99-year-old port, summoned our healer in, and made our way to the actual dungeon. The warlock obviously had somewhere else to be, because he ran ahead, face-pulled every mob, and went into the instance without us. I just don't understand why you would do this. You could have died to the elite mobs, and you have to wait for us to get into the dungeon before you can start it anyway. And it's taking us longer to fight our way to the dungeon because you're not here helping to kill the mobs, and all of the mobs are resetting, so anyway, we made it to the dungeon. The run started out like any other, except for the fact that the warlock kept pressing life tap, which made me really nervous. But nevertheless, we made it to the first boss and killed her without any issues. The warlock even got a rare 10-slot bag. We continued on through the dungeon and eventually came to our first loot box. And the one thing you need to know about me is that I have the worst chest rolling luck in this game ever. So naturally, I completely fucked it. The warlock mentioned that he needed the next rank of life tap. Buddy, I don't think you do. We continued on and made it to the next boss.
Greetings.
Who, fortunately, dropped his rare belt. A rather significant upgrade.
Oh boy, I sure can't wait to get Crash's back. Fuck!
Any minors? As we continued on, the healer gave me a stamina enchant on my shield. This meant that some of those items I'd been stealing were inadvertently being taken away from another enchanter. Did this realization make me stop doing it? The priest rebuffed everyone with fortitude and then had to take a mana break. I stood next to him and waited while the DPS did exactly what you'd expect. Also, if you've ever gotten lost in the Wailing Caverns maze before, just hug the left wall. I know that saying that is kind of a meme, but it actually does work in here. We found another chest and I nearly won it. I was so close. But it's okay, we found a third one, and I. Then we killed Lord Pythus. The run was going pretty well, but there was one moment when it got kind of tense. I facepulled these two mobs. Don't read the chat saying that there's a patrol on the way, and then the healer gets put to sleep. I went over to the patrol to get aggro on it, and when I turned back, I noticed that Scum was in combat. The warlock's pet had run into the pit trying to kill one of the druids and had aggroed the boss. But it's okay, we killed Scum and I resisted the temptation to knead on this cloak. Then we found a fourth chest. This was it. This was going to be the one. I was technically right. We made it to the top of the cavern and took down Lord Serpentis. Our next challenge was Verdun the Everliving. This guy hits like a... But it's okay, because blocking means I take 9 less damage. Once Verdun was down, there was only one thing left for us to do in the dungeon. Escort the slowest Tauren known to man. But since he is a Tauren, I'm obligated to watch over him. We finish the escort mission and begin the final part of the dungeon. We clear out the mobs until Mutinous himself rises from the depths. We slay the monster, complete the dungeon, and the shoulders that the warlock wanted dropped. Let me explain my strategy. The warlock obviously had somewhere else to be. This was when my fingers got a bit sticky. We started clearing out the opening, and I immediately got back on my bullshit. The warlock even got a rare 10-slot bag. Just maybe, you take a whole bunch of items, pulled every mob, and went into the loves of without us. Don't mind if I also don't have a lot of warlock mentioned that he needed the next rank of life sword of these, buddy. Well, I might as well have these. I just don't understand why you would do this. Instead of dying to the elite mobs, and you have to wait for us to get into the dungeon before you can start it anyway. And it's taking us longer to fight our way to the dungeon because you're not here helping to kill the mobs, and all of the mobs are resetting. It would only take one click. One button press, and they could be mine. Sometimes in hardcore, you have to put yourself first in order to survive, even at the expense of other people. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. I mean, that would just be a dick move on my part. Sure, the warlock did some weird stuff, but I wasn't about to steal his loot over it. Also, I turned off the recording software right before it happened, but this guy running next to me actually gave me a pair of male shoulders. So everybody wins. Back outside the dungeon, I completed some of the quests which I didn't get to do inside, and I disenchanted all of the gear. Headed over to Thunderbluff to hand in Leaders of the Fang, which got me not only the Wingblade, but level 22 as well. And that's about it. While I'm not completely done with the Barrens, I'm not going to be here for much longer. And then we'll see what the other zones have in store for me. And I'm sure that when I go to them, everything will be just fine.
You too shall serve.
Hey, thanks for watching the fucking video. You know the fucking deal. Hit the bell, comment, upvote it on Reddit. Also, one last thing before I go, I wanted to set some expectations because my last video did a lot better than I thought it would, and so I'm here to say that I rushed to get this one out within 2 weeks of the last one, which I just barely managed to do. And it took me several days of working like non-stop on the video to get it out in time. So this is just me saying that the next video is probably going to take longer than 2 weeks, maybe like 3 weeks or a month, I'm not sure yet. But I wanted to say that now to temper expectations in case anyone thinks that I'm going to go on this bi-weekly video upload schedule, because that is not the plan. Anyway, thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.